Reflection for Passion. Sunday.
When you walk into a church at the start of Passiontide, the first thing you notice is what you cannot see. The statues are covered. The crucifixes are draped in violet cloth. The familiar faces of the saints, the image of Christ on the cross, all of it hidden. And the gospel tells us why. At the end of today's reading from John, after Jesus has spoken the most staggering words any human ear has ever heard, the crowd picks up stones to kill him, and he hides himself and goes out of the temple. The church takes that moment and spreads it across the next 2 weeks. She veils everything so that we might feel, even just a little, what it is like when God seems to withdraw. The medieval liturgist Durandus gave 2 reasons for this veiling. The first is that Jesus no longer walked openly among the people. The second and deeper reason is that Christ's divinity was now hidden beneath the weight of his approaching suffering. Saint Athanasius put it beautifully in his great work on the Incarnation. When his Godhead is veiled in human nature, his bodily acts still declare him to be the power and word of God. Even when God hides, he does not leave. Even when the veil falls, the presence behind it remains. But consider what provoked the stones in the first place. The crowd asks Jesus point blank, "Who do you make yourself?" And he answers with words that shook the foundations of the temple. "Before Abraham was, I am." He does not say, "Before Abraham was, I was." Saint Augustine noticed this distinction with great care. He pointed out that Jesus chose his words with divine precision. I am. The same name God gave to Moses from the burning bush. The name that means pure, unchanging, eternal existence. Abraham came into being. The prophets came into being. You and I came into being. But the Son of God simply is. He has no beginning and no end. He stands outside of time, and yet he chose to step into it, to take on flesh, to walk among us, and now to suffer. That is the great truth that Passion Sunday puts before us. The one who called himself I am, the eternal God, the source of all life, is about to be arrested, beaten, mocked, and nailed to a cross. The letter to the Hebrews, which the Church gives us as today's epistle, helps us understand what this means. Christ, the high priest of the good things to come, entered the sanctuary not with the blood of goats or calves, but with his own blood, obtaining eternal redemption. The old priest went into the Holy of Holies once a year carrying the blood of animals, and the effect was temporary. It had to be done again and again. But Jesus entered once, and the door has never closed behind him. His sacrifice holds. St. Thomas Aquinas, reflecting on this passage, said that the reason Christ's priesthood surpasses every other is that he offered something no earthly priest could offer: himself. The victim and the priest were one. There was no distance between the one making the offering and the one being offered. That is why the communion antiphon for today's Mass uses the words of Christ himself at the Last Supper. "This is my body, which shall be given up for you. This cup is the new covenant in my blood." The Mass we attend each Sunday is the same sacrifice, the same priest, the same offering. The veils in the Church remind us that something tremendous is happening beneath what we can see. The collect of the Mass asks God to look with mercy upon his family and to guide and guard us in body and soul by his bounteous grace. That prayer carries a particular tenderness at this point in Lent. We are tired. The penances have been long. The finish line is still 2 weeks away. And the Church, like a good mother, does not pretend the road is easy. She acknowledges it. But she also points to the one who walks it ahead of us. Saint Catherine of Siena once told her spiritual children that the road to heaven passes over a bridge, and that bridge is Christ crucified. She said that God, seeing that we could never reach him on our own, built the bridge out of his own Son's body. The nails that held him to the cross are the same nails that hold the bridge in place. This is a startling image, and Catherine meant it to be. She wanted people to understand that there is no way around the cross. There is only a way through it, and the way through it is a person. The tract of today's Mass, drawn from Psalm 128, gives us words that have belonged to persecuted believers for thousands of years. Often have they fought against me from my youth, yet they could not prevail over me. These are the words of Israel, yes, but they are also the words of Christ in his humanity, and they are offered to us as our own. Every family knows something about being fought against. Children face pressures that would have been unimaginable a generation ago. Parents carry burdens they sometimes cannot name. And the world is loud in its insistence that none of this matters, that suffering has no meaning, that the cross is foolishness. But the cross is where I am chose to go. The eternal Son of God who existed before Abraham, before the world, before time itself, walked freely toward Jerusalem knowing exactly what waited for him there. He was not dragged. He was not tricked. He went because he loves us and because love, real love, does not calculate the cost before it gives. Saint Maximilian Kolbe, who gave his life in a starvation bunker at Auschwitz so that a stranger might live, once wrote that suffering accepted in love becomes a source of tremendous power. He did not say this lightly. He said it from a place of real darkness, real hunger, real death. And yet his testimony echoes what the liturgy has been telling us all of Lent, that the things which look like defeat are in God's hands, the instruments of victory. The offertory antiphon today prays, "Give me life according to your word." That is a prayer for Passiontide and for every day afterward. The life God gives is not the life the world offers. It costs more and it lasts forever. It comes through the blood of a priest who offered himself through the words, "I am," spoken to a crowd that could not bear to hear them. Through the hidden God who is closer to us now than he has ever been. Even when the statues are veiled and the crosses are draped, and everything around us says he is gone. He is not gone. He is hidden, yes, for a little while, but Easter is coming. And when the veils come down, we will see what was there all along. The face of the one who loved us before the foundation of the world, and who will love us long after the last stone has been thrown.